How you doing? Welcome back, everybody. So we're actually this is actually almost the end. Believe it or not, we this will be the second to last lecture that we have. I know the last one I was probably a little bit downbeat, but you should actually know that that actually this class is actually performing very well overall. I was actually going over the grades myself, and actually, I think at least like half the class is going to get an A. I mean, maybe 9 to 10 people out of 18. That's pretty good, actually. So, I just really am actually mostly concerned about, maybe there's maybe many as four, maybe 5 people who haven't been able to keep up. And what I really want to see is basically, um, a really better attempt at really making sure that we understand, making sure we stay within the confines of this class, making sure that we, realize that this actually is a short schedule and everything, and this is actually what we signed up for. Um, I had at least 5 or 6 people ask for extensions, that sort of thing, which I mean I allow to have happen and everything, but at the same time, it's also difficult to be like juggling all that at the same time while also trying to teach new lessons and this that sort of thing. I mean, the bottom line is that we have had about half the class do well, be able to keep up, and more than half the class, but be able to keep up with what's been going on, that sort of thing. So what you need to do is you need to basically just do that same thing, is to basically keep up, with what's going on in the class. Um, And if you don't make if you don't make the deadline, which is a part of journalism, then that's not going to be a good grade. Okay. Um, my suggestion to those people that actually haven't been able to keep up and haven't been able to do the work is to probably. I mean, I don't think I'm actually going to give actual Fs out. Okay, or Ds. What I'll probably do is I'll probably ask you to maybe take the class again, or maybe even give you an incomplete. Um, that way, maybe there's perhaps just some arrangements that we can work out over the rest of the summer to try to make up the work that's been lost or something. But um, perhaps there's something that we can do. But actually, a better option, and I know both classes I have in the fall at this point are actually in-person classes, but perhaps there's something better we can do as far as maybe like just doing the work over again. I mean, this is not really a class where you could just make it up and just take the test again and like, where it's like yes or no answers to the exams and that sort of thing, or fill in the blanks or like, word choice or whatever. And, you just read the book and then you take an exam. This one is actually a craft learning, okay? And you really have to go through the process of doing the craft. Um, and I mean, that's the and I can't. I mean, I've had some people who have not really done much work at all over the last, over the last maybe like 4 weeks or so. That sort of thing. I mean, I'm sorry, 4 weeks, 4 assignments, or maybe 3 assignments, and then they may be asking me to actually like they want an opportunity to actually do the work by the end of the semester. Well, there's only a week left of the semester. Okay. So it's not it's you need to go through the whole process of having, writing the story and having it edited and then redoing the story and then having that edited. And that usually is a process that takes about really no more than a week, week and a half. But we don't have that much time left to do that when you're with 3, 4 assignments. Okay. So I mean, it's not fair to you. It's really not fair to the people who have been doing assignments on time, that sort of thing. So if you're, if you haven't, if you, agree to a certain time to finish the work and you're, whatever the assignment is, you agree to an extension, that sort of thing. You need to actually live by the deadline, the new deadline, and actually provide the work and on deadline. Okay. When I said deadlines for assignments overall, you need to actually do the work, meet the deadline. Okay. That's just the way it is. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's the way the class is. I'm sorry that, maybe not everybody's been able to keep up with that schedule and, or asking for extensions and that sort of thing. But at the same time, and haven't been able to live up to the extensions, but I mean, we have to, this is the class you've chosen, okay? This is what we have to do is we have to finish the job and, get a decent enough grade, okay? Um, and, see you're above, I would say, and, if you're not able to do that, then, you know, what I would suggest is you probably should maybe, like I said, maybe audit online one of my classes over the semester, give you an incomplete this semester, and then you can get like a passing grade that will replace the incomplete grade. Okay, I've done that with people before. I did it with a couple of students this past semester in the spring. They had actually were basically on the verge of failing the class in the fall, and they ended up getting passing grades. Um, so that's I mean that's what's probably gonna have to happen to some people, and that's just the way it is. Okay. But like I said, I'm actually pleased overall with like how people have been able to keep up with the assignments and the deadlines. I tend to give out a lot more A's than a lot of people would expect, that sort of thing. I don't know, I think it's great inflation. I think it's just you've developed the ability to do the work and do the job, then you're going to, get a good grade, and I believe a good grade is an A. Okay. Um, all right, so let me actually like share the screen right now. Okay. Um, okay. All right. So let me some things. Okay. Let me just show you some of the things, some of the stories that have done it, where people have actually done well. A couple of Hams's pieces right here. I mean, we just had the rewrite deadline for the Megalomania assignment. I did give an extension on that one for everybody, but like I said, I mean, you still have to actually do the work, and you still have to basically, you know, get the stuff that actually like makes this more than just a simple resignation story. It makes this a news story, something that people will be interested in reading. Okay. And like I said, I mean, just writing that basically like he um you know got Celine Dion and then went on and threw a party is not going to be enough. Okay. Some people didn't even have that, but basically saying he resigned after throwing or trying to bill his expense account for a wild birthday party, and explaining what happened at that party, especially things like dogfighting and stuff like that. I mean, that's just, crazy stuff that basically got ended up and put him in jail. Okay. You can see like right here, Hamza has all that stuff right here. It's not like in list form. Bronson paid for the lodging for his friends at $70,000. Company, it's like attributed to company records, but then it breaks it down into smaller details of dog fighting and prize fighters. I mean, like I said, stuff that probably like would maybe put some people in jail or even worse. So, all right. And then basically, like very simple lead, Bronson has resigned. Okay. Like I said, when people walk into a store, they want to know about, is this company I'm buying or paying money to or whatever, this merchandise and everything is coming from a place that's actually respectable, and people do care about that stuff. Okay. They want to know if like you're wearing a sweater and like this company is like embarrassing itself. If you're wearing a sweater that has a tag on it that's from this particular company, they might think they might like actually like get second guess themselves and say like maybe I won't buy that shirt because this company embarrasses itself. Okay. Um, I mean, sometimes people make those actual decisions. Okay. All right. So that, and then basically the filling out those details, and then the other stuff about like, Bronson paying, basically Bronson saying Bronson has to pay his expenses himself, and the actual restructuring itself. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not saying it shouldn't be in the story, but it has to be lower in the story. Because again, the idea is that a news story is like almost like an upside down story. It's basically the big reveal typically at the top, and then you provide the details, you deconstruct it afterward, provide the details that actually show why there's such a big story and why should I care. Okay. Some of the details about how I'm still owning stock and everything like that. And that's important information that goes down at the bottom. Okay. Of course, when I talk about everything being at the top, the exception to that would be that feature story that actually was due, that actually is due. I'm sorry, I'm a little thrown off right now. I was just watching that debate. Oh my God. Um, so my computer actually wasn't working very well, so I had actually restarted. Anyway, now the exception to the rule of not putting everything at the very top of the story would be the feature story. Now, the interesting thing about that is actually you still are actually making the story a bit top heavy. You have a lead, it's just a longer lead, okay, a more suspenseful, dramatic lead. Ahmad Amir doesn't said he doesn't like the summer season and temperature in Patterson, which has reached 95 this year compared to being in the high 70s the week before. Okay. He said he forgets to adapt to hotter weather to stay hydrated. Okay. So it's basically, again, kind of bringing you to like one step to the other, trying to create a little bit of suspense. We don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, I'm not talking about necessarily life or death details here, but, you know, but I mean, they could be, you know. Um, I've seen plenty of stories about the weather and people like dealing with things like heat exhaustion and stuff like that, or like, fainting on the sidewalk or something like that, and suddenly that just comes out of nowhere. Or like they were suddenly walking down the street and they were feeling the heat. They didn't really bother them. And then the next paragraph, and then suddenly he found himself on the floor or on the ground. I mean, that's actually the idea here is that you're supposed to actually create, even in this when it's not necessarily the most dramatic details, you're still creating a little bit of suspense because people are kind of left thirsting for a little bit more, especially when you're dealing with an unusual circumstance of the weather kind of jumping up and down like it's been doing, where you've had 95-degree days and 74-degree days. Okay. Okay. So, and then, like I said, it didn't be restricted to the Rutgers area. You had people, at Hamza was talking about, I guess, where Hamza is in Patterson. Okay. And basically he sweats and he worries about dehydration. People worry about their health, that sort of thing. Okay. It's also supposed to be some sort of relatable experience people can engage to. And finally, you get to this is why it's top heavy, because you're supposed to get to some sort of a nut graph that basically sums up everything that's being said. What it does is it connects this anecdote right here that maybe you normally would put lower in the story, okay? It connects that to the rest of the story, okay? And it acts as what they also call a delayed lead. The idea here again is that you're kind of going with a softer approach. It's more vague, yes, but at the same time, it's supposed to be more dramatic and more suspenseful, bringing along piece by piece by piece, and then making the big reveal here, okay? That's supposed to be a more engaging way of writing, connecting and relating with people. Bring up relatable details that people experience often, okay? And maybe even add a little bit of drama to it, okay? So isn't others he and other people in Patterson are adjusting to the heat from the summer season. Patterson said residents say they worry about their health and productivity due to the summer heat. They appreciate the activities there. So it's a bit of a mixed graph. Mixed opinions graph. And then you have like transitions. This is the best way to really kind of like outline your story and divide it into certain sections. Have a transition and then just basically an anecdote. Okay. Some Patterson residents say they have struggled to stay productive in hot weather. Okay, so first point to back up what's here in the nut graph. Okay. So why is it bad to be basically dealing with this adjustments up and down inconsistency in the weather? Well, they make them struggle to be productive because basically when it gets hot, they lose time. I mean, I find myself trying to get back into running, and then the running just like it gets like really sluggish sometimes, because it's just really the humidity just saps you of energy. But then the next day it's like 74 and I feel so much better. Then the next day I get disappointed because, suddenly it's 95 again and I wanted that 75 to stay and I just don't understand why. Okay. It takes break. Here we have Samir Bates takes breaks to cool off, and he's basically his focus turns to staying cool rather than completing his work. Okay. So that's very good. That's good anecdotal material. Um, Despite all the effect on his work, he appreciates this time of year for beach outings and Sunday skies. He says in my rain, okay, the weather has been unpredictable lately, which helps me prepare for the heat. I mean, maybe not the greatest direct quote in the world, but it shows a little bit of emotion. What I don't want is actually like a lot of stuff that's descriptive, informational, like this. Kevin Garcia There's a soccer player who lives in Patterson and said the hot weather impacts his games because players must take breaks to rehydrate. I don't want that in quotes. Okay. That's something where you use your own writing. Most people actually skip over direct quotes. They tend to think they're unimportant and they jump over them. Okay. He said when temperatures get high. So when you actually write the story, you actually it gives a little more importance. It actually, it shows that the reader has a voice and is narrating, and people tend to stand up and listen when the narrator speaks. Okay. He said when the temperatures are too high, the warm weather, when the temperatures get high, the teams must take breaks every 30 minutes to cool off. Okay. Again, describing the experience using your own word. Okay. Gomez says he's concerned about the coping with high temperatures of the heat and the possibility of weather patterns. She mentioned her electricity bill increased significantly during the air conditioning. Again, a good personal experience. But then, kind of a colorful, emotional quote. It's a necessary expense for me to survive the summer heat. Okay. Transitions. Another Patterson resident says she prefers the indoors during this time of year due to the air conditioning. Okay. All right. These you could use these almost like as a place mark. Sometimes, I mean, when you actually start writing the story, maybe just write the lead, what you think it would be, maybe just a nut graph, and then just divide the story into sections by using transitions. Here's what my first section is going to say. Some residents are having a hard time staying productive. My second section is going to talk about, you know, rising temperatures are affecting sports players in Patterson. Okay. All right. And then we have another section about the air conditioning. Okay. And then what you do is in each of those sections, you come up with an anecdote that helps illuminate, each point. Okay. All right. So we have that feature rewrite is due on Monday. Okay. Like I said, I hope to get all the Megalomania rewrites done by Friday. This will be posted on Friday. This video, of course. But you know, just like let's try to finish strong. Remember that the last two assignments actually count more than any other assignments. Okay. So, it's really not the time for keep asking for extensions and things like that. Okay. We got to actually like try to get the work done, try to get it done on time. I have to turn my grades like very quickly, within a couple of days actually after July 5th, really. Okay. So I can't really like do much extensions. And if I do give extensions, I probably would have to be on the data, probably would have to give incomplete grades. So, all right. So let's try to finish strong because, like I said, I see a lot of positive work coming from this class. Let's try to continue that. Okay. Look at the samples that I've provided for like each story, that sort of thing. I mean, that provided samples for this particular feature story too as well. Okay. The samples I've provided for the final assignment because every one of you has provided a topic. Not every one of you. Some of you actually have not provided a topic or didn't provide it on time. So you'll be getting a grade lower on the final assignment. I hate to say, but I mean, again, that's all part of like and keeping on the deadlines and that sort of thing. We have to do that in this class, especially this shortened schedule. All right. Thanks very much. Let me know if you need anything.